In this segment, we're going to talk about sneaks. Right from the start, let me say that there is only one shoe. However, it's not the only issue that must be addressed in a sale. Obviously, if you agree that the purpose of shoes is to satisfy needs, you'll have little trouble controlling the direction and flow of the steps.
Maybe we'll let Dana change shoes.
Obviously, the customer's feet must be addressed in a sale. However, we're not talking about feet. We're talking about
Octo Camo.
No, we're talking about something else. Mercedes-Benz automobiles. Let's start with the preparation or the preparation to persuade the prospect that your automobile and your dealership will satisfy a conscious or even subconscious need. Many salespeople find themselves in a dialogue that goes like this.
Good morning.
I'll buy your car. One of your challenges is to sell again.
I hate the car I have now.
Your number one.
I'll buy your car again. Or the conversation might go like this.
Good morning.
And immediately have the customer tell you that he's looking to replace his 3-year-old. In this type of negotiation, everyone leaves.
Hey, I am successful. Okay.
Objection. Let me inject a thought here. There's a science in the automotive industry called machine economics, which is the study of the machine. What? There's a science in the automotive industry called science economics, which is the study of science. There's a science called economics, which is the study of accelerate.
And it just...
Let me add some thoughts. Now, let me add some words. All too often, the difference between a lost prospect and a lost prospect may well be your neck. This can happen virtually.
Yes,
I will, I am not using this as a threat or anything, but...
And continue the process of proving that the price is equal to the price. You're going to find that in most cases, the customers are poor. They don't want to suffer a turn down. Question, turn down for what?
Come on, let's go throw snowballs outside.
The customer is going to throw some snowballs at you, and you have to be ready to buy. Why? Because it's fun. Mercedes-Benz of North America spends tens of millions of your dollars. Best of all, it doesn't cost Mercedes-Benz a dime.
There's nothing worse to me than having somebody pull out of here in a new Mercedes-Benz.
We thought this might be a good opportunity to give you a short text. Meet and greet and meet, probing salespeople with benefits, demonstrating, and handling, but this brings us to a key question. What?
The car has been totaled.
That could be a legitimate statement, or it could be You might learn that the customer is so rich. At the same time, you're trying to satisfy your need to earn friends and turn a prospect into a source of repeat friendship. And which parties We're not going to suggest that there is only one way to sell. There is just 6 different ways. Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Jaguar, Cadillac, and maybe 1 or 2 others. Well, it's also the way you feel behind the wheel. It's the sense of command behind the wheel. You might also talk about the black window and the window.
Let me ask you a couple questions, if I may.
Sure.
You know, what are you?
Well,
this leads to other people in the market for a blunt.
Driving. I do quite a bit of driving because my clients are spaced.
420. Smoke, 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 smoke.
Okay, enough. Obviously, the more cars you can sell, the more likely you'll be to the customers. To put it another way, you're adding more contention. It's also a means of the customer, might you say? Another significant challenge is to stab the customer. Believe me, it will give them something to talk about. And it's the objective of the product presentation and demonstration. For purposes of illustration, let's say you've determined that the customer's hot. Because you know the customer's hot, you have attraction. And what we'd like to do now is take a closer look at the human anatomy. Let's start by examining the customer's curves. For you, it's a very special opportunity. This brings us to the customer's clothes. Remove them as obstacles to the sale and fully expose the customer.
Don't you know anything about consent?
Good point. Fully expose the customer without forcing them. Now, you might say, by the way you're dressed. So you ask them to get comfortable. You can phrase it any way that feels comfortable for you. To put it another way, make a good first impression.
Just making the customer feel at ease. Just make a customer feel at ease. But
Make out on the floor with your customers. Whether you spend 5 minutes on the floor or 50, simply wing it, as they say.
Lie flat on the ground while wearing the suit.
I'm excited. I'm very excited.
And I feel them.
You have to feel up.
That's usually too hard for me to do.
it feels great.
And I want to make sure they feel special.
Believe me, it will give them something to talk about.
If you want, I'll go call your wife for you and say, oh, your wife isn't home, or I can't get to her, or something like that. And again, you turn right around, you say, I'm going to go get a tag for you. At that point, you just bring his wife into a particular car. You immediately pull it out, you turn right around, you do it, and they follow just like a puppy dog. And sometimes I'll just come dead out and say, I'm servicing your wife between 5 and 6 in the evening, or even a little bit later. At that point, there's really not a whole lot a customer can do.
Why don't we take the test drive and drive over there and let her see the car?
A lot of times, husbands like that. Husbands like the salesman to take his wife.
I take it upon myself to get the proper lubricants.
You don't want to ever give anybody the impression that you know the wife. You don't want to ever give the impression that you know more than they know you know.
If the customer is by, this leads to 3 ways, even if you're in the middle of the sales presentation.
This is terrific. God, this is wonderful.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens. Trust me. Take the statement at face value and assume that what I'm telling you is true. Believe me, it will give them something to talk about. Good luck. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's give them some talk. Let's give them some talk. Let's give them some talk about Mercedes-Benz automobiles. Consider this. Mercedes...
But